Today we're going to go through how to set up an online store using WooCommerce. And this is part of an online series that we'll be doing in two parts. So part one today, and then at the same time next week, we'll go over part two. So before we actually kick off into the learning, just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Shane Klein. I'm from Christchurch, New Zealand, and I'm a happiness engineer at Automatic. And before I joined, I was a web developer for over 10 years, and I mainly made websites in WordPress and also quite a few using WooCommerce. And if you'd like to connect with me after this or anytime really, please feel free to message me at CLK87 on the WordPress Slack, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions or offer any guidance or anything you need. So please feel free to contact me there. And if you'd like, in the chat and Zoom, you could share where you're from and maybe what your experience level is with WordPress and WooCommerce. And that will just help us get to know each other a bit, and also help me to help determine like your level with using the software. And obviously, we're learning how to set up a shop from the get-go. So if you don't have any experience, it's absolutely fine. I think you've come to the right place. So yeah, I'll move on and I'll read out some of the comments if you'd like to post. You don't have to. So yeah, before we begin, this is being recorded and I'll post it to WordPress.tv afterwards. Everyone's muted, so if you could please just stay muted, it'll help avoid any background noise. And if you have questions, we'll do a bit of a Q&A at the end. So please save them for then. And so Leslie has written in that she's in Indiana. She's set up a shop, though it's been a while. So she's looking forward to catching up what's new and what's going on in the world of WooCommerce. So thank you for sharing, Leslie. I think there's going to be some interesting stuff here for you. And I'll quickly give you an overview of what we're going to cover today. So we're going to cover like right from the get-go, installing WooCommerce and also just a bit about WooCommerce. And then we're going to look at the settings because it's very important to set it up to reflect the way that your business or the way you want your store to work. And it's quite highly configurable. So we'll go through each settings screen and I'll explain what they mean and the options that you have within. And then we'll also look at all the different product types that WooCommerce offers and how to set them up. And then next week, we'll look at shipping, payment gateways, the pages that come with WooCommerce, orders, and coupons. And then my hope is that over these two parts, that should give you quite a good foundation for getting your own store off the ground. So Nikki's written in that she's from California and has worked on several WordPress sites, but no experience with WooCommerce. But she has a new client that uses it. So that's awesome. This is going to be, again, I think, a good overview of what is possible with WooCommerce and should give you a good understanding about how to use it. And Brandon is in South Africa. He's new to WooCommerce and WordPress. So great. Glad to have you here. Thanks everyone for writing in. That is very cool. So let's kick off with what WooCommerce is. So WooCommerce is, oh, sorry, one more, Duncan. Duncan's from Perth, Western Australia, and he is doing a lot of SEO. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. So I just wanted to give an overview, like WooCommerce is a plugin that allows you to add e-commerce functionality to a WordPress website. So it's a plugin to add functionality to a WordPress website. It doesn't just come out of the box with WordPress. And WooCommerce is the largest and most popular e-commerce platform that is specifically built for WordPress. And it gives you near unlimited flexibility and a lot of control over your store. And I really wanted to highlight that throughout your journey of creating a shop, you're not alone. There's people like me to ask questions. There's also many guides online. There's tutorials and forums where you can ask questions about anything that comes up. So I just wanted to quickly show you what these guides look like. So they'll cover each aspect of the process, like products, taxes, shipping, payments, orders. So anything that we go over today, there'll be more in-depth resources to help you learn and really get into the technical details of each. But for now, we will move on to just a little bit more about WooCommerce because I just wanted to inform everyone that WooCommerce can be a very small store and it can be a very large store. So it can also grow into a very large store from a small store. So it's very extensible. It can handle one product all the way up to thousands of products. And you can add extensions or plugins to enhance your website as your business grows or changes. So there's an official marketplace, and also people will publish free plugins that let you add functionality like a subscription model or accepting bookings or a membership area or like automated email follow-ups after somebody's bought a specific product. You might follow up with them in a week to check in about it or ask them to leave a review or whatever. Like it can really scale, and it has a lot of plugins for extra functionality. Um, it can have almost unlimited products and variations, so there's really no cap on how many you can sell. And it can handle thousands of transactions per minute, so it can really scale quite large. And it can be integrated with shopping, with marketplaces like Google Shopping and Facebook, so that you can allow more eyes on your products. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. So I would encourage you to go to like woocommerce.com/products, and that is all official extensions. And there are so many to look through and just help you also get ideas about what you might like to add to your shop. And there's also we'll look at this in a second, but installing a plugin from the back end of your site, you can search for WooCommerce related plugins there and add them too. So it really gives a lot of options. And now we'll move on to installing the plugin. And then so when you install the plugin, you'll get a fully functional store like instantly. And then from there we want to make the settings relate to our business and also set up products. And then next week, we'll look at how to manage orders when they come in, setting up different payment gateways. You can enable coupons if you want to, and shipping options. So they can be quite complex or quite simple, just depending on your business. So I wanted to give payments and shipping a bit more time next week. But let's have a look at how to install. So I've got a very blank WordPress website here. So from the back end dashboard, we can just go plugins and add new. It's featured in the popular section because it has over 7 million active installations. So it's a very popular plugin. And from here, we just install it and give it a few seconds to do its thing. And it's before we activate, I'll just show you how it looks in our plugins area. So you can look at the details of who has created the plugin, and there will also be links to documentation and the forums here too. So if you want to get to the support forum, you can do it via these links. And yeah, go to the support link here. So we'll go back, and when we activate the plugin, we should see a walkthrough screen. So this will help us set up some of the most important settings for our store. So you can either go through that process or skip it. So I'll just show you a few of these screens. So whether you're just starting or you're already selling, or whether you're setting up a store for a client. So you can just continue through and then name your store, select where it's located, which email address should be responsible for the store. And then there's some optional extras that you might like to install, but you don't have to. And I will leave things here because I've got a separate website that I'm going to walk you through all of the settings that I've already set up for a store. So that was purely just to show you how we install it. So I'll close these and quickly head back to my presentation where we're going to configure the settings. So these settings are how your store works behind the scenes. You can configure options like your store location, the currency it uses, the units of measurement, and default customer preferences. So we're going to look through all of those things now. So I've set up a bookshop where I'm selling new books and also used books. And this is how it looks. Later on, we'll look at the products themselves, but for now, to access the settings, we just head back to our dashboard, and you'll see that we've got the WooCommerce tab here, and also a few others that come with it when we install the plugin. So we've got products, payments, analytics, and marketing. So to access the settings, we hover over WooCommerce and then click on settings. And so there are a few tabs because there are quite a few settings. So we'll start on the general settings. And the first one here is where your store is located. So you want to enter in a physical address if your business has one. And if it doesn't, if you're just purely online, I would probably leave it empty. And then we'll look at where you're going to sell to. And for me, I just decided that I want to sell within my country, but you can select, all of the countries or a few or many of the countries. You can select also where you're going to ship to, whether those countries that you're going to sell to are also going to be where you ship to. But you have flexibility here to set it up how you need it to work. And so for me, it's pretty simple. We're selling within the country and we're going to ship within the country. And we also have an option here, default customer location. So this is the location that is assigned to a customer when they land on your site. So it could just match where the shop is or the region, the country and the region. You could just set nothing so that they'll have to just manually write it in. Or you can geolocate, which we'll look at in another setting screen. And that will basically just use their IP address to locate where they are in the world and then apply that location on the checkout. There's a step to make that happen. You can also have pretty cool features like auto address complete. So when they start typing their address and then they find the right one and they click on it, it will fill out all the details. You've probably seen this before. It adds a really nice user experience. And I personally think that's what we want to achieve and what we want to strive for is a really smooth user experience when customers are using us shop. and also having as little barrier to checking out as possible. And I'll go into that a bit later. So we also have options here for taxes and coupons, whether or not you simply want to have taxes factored into your pricing or not. I've enabled that, and also whether you want to use coupons or not. And this is completely up to you. If you want to do like the Black Friday sales everywhere right now, you might want to have some Black Friday coupons, or Christmas isn't too far away, all of that sort of thing, and then advertise them through social media or however you'll do it. And then an option here if you want to apply the coupons sequentially, which yeah, again, it's just completely up to you. And the currency. So for me, it's New Zealand dollar. Currency symbol is on the left. Thousand separator is a comma, and the decimal is, yeah, just a decimal separator, and then the number of decimals that trail after the dollar amount. So those are all configurable, and it's probably worth noting that if you're selling like to a multi-currency, if you need that sort of setup, it can happen through a plugin. So default, you get one currency option, but if you need multi-currency, you can add that functionality, which is pretty common depending on where you are in the world. So we'll move on to the products screen, settings screen, and so when you install WooCommerce, you get a shop page, cart, checkout, my account, terms and conditions. So you get a few pages that are pretty standard with having an online shop. And here you want to choose which page should be the shop and should show your products. And in my case, shop makes sense. But because I'm selling books, I could also create a books page and then apply the shop template to that page. So it's a little bit more custom, but that's completely up to you as well. You might be selling shoes or handbags, and that shop page might fit better at /handbags or /shoes rather than /shop. And we have some add to cart behavior options. So if you want, you can redirect the customer to the cart page every time they add something to their cart. Or you can enable Ajax add to cart buttons, which means that if they're on the shop page, they can add a product to their cart without the page reloading. And that just allows for like a nice user experience. So I'll quickly demonstrate that. So I've got my books here, and if they wanted to add Dracula to their cart, they could simply click it, and then it's added to the cart here without the page reloading. So it's just a nice user experience. And again, if you remove it, it removes it without the page reloading. So it's quite neat. I personally like it, so I keep it enabled. But you don't have to. So just those options for you there. The placeholder image. So this is a default placeholder image that WooCommerce gives you if you publish a product that doesn't have an image yet. So let's have a look. In the media library, it will be shown here. So this is what it looks like, and it is given the ID of 6, and that is what shows in our input box here. So image ID of 6 will be shown as the placeholder image. But if you wanted to do something else, like show your logo or any other image, you could simply grab the ID from the address bar here, which is 14 in this case, and then apply that to this input box, and then this image will now be your default placeholder for any products that don't have an image. So it's just a nice little, kind of keeps it consistent maybe with some branding, and a nice little option there. So measurements, kilograms and centimeters, metric system we use, but you might use pounds and inches and feet and so forth. So those are there ready for you to change to suit your country. And reviews. So do you want customers to be able to leave product reviews or not? And then if they can leave reviews, would you like them to be verified owners only that leave reviews? Would you like them to be able to select a star rating? And you can also make it required or not to have a star rating. So quite a few options there. We'll move on to inventory. So you can use the website to, manage stock levels, and you just enable that with the tick box. And if you don't want that, just disable it. So there are a few options here like holding stock for X number of minutes, which will apply to unpaid orders. So if somebody has ordered something but haven't paid for it yet, and that can be due to many different reasons, such as like perhaps a card has been maxed out, or yeah, there's a lot. But if you wanted then to be able to free that product up for someone else to buy, you could hold it for, say, 90 minutes or 120 minutes. And then it would be released back into the stock for another customer to buy. Otherwise, you can just leave it blank to disable, which is a preference of mine. But again, it's up to you. You can also set low stock notifications, so an email will come to you when, say, a product reaches a level of, say, 2, or maybe that might be better if it was, say, 6, if they're really moving fast, or 10, or whatever you want. And then the out of stock threshold, which is set to 0, can also be increased to, say, 2. When a certain product gets down to 2, we can hide that from the catalog, or we can simply, uncheck this, and it'll always be shown. And so if somebody goes into the product, it will just say out of stock. And that's also an option that you have control over, whether you show how many are in stock, whether you show when it gets down to that low stock threshold, or you don't show anything. So yeah, again, just up to you how you want to manage things. And WooCommerce offers, physical product sales and downloadable products. So if you're selling like an ebook or an MP3, some sort of audio file, video, you can do that as well. And there are quite a few options for how you handle that, whether you allow downloads when the customer is logged in or not. But I would say for the most part, these options can be left in their default state. If you want to dive into this area more, please consult the documentation. It will allow you to learn more about different server environments and configurations if needed. So you can also, when you install WooCommerce, it will create 2 folders for your downloadable products to be stored in. And you can also add a new directory. So for example, if you want to keep your downloadable products on Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that, you can add a new location in here. So again, that's just might be better, might be useful if you've got like a team of people that are administering the site, and they all need access to a certain folder. Might be easier to give them access to Dropbox or Google Drive or something. And then the advanced settings in this area they really are advanced. I don't think you'll need to change these unless you're a developer. And this is all about how products get looked up using the database tables. So I won't dive too much in here, but I just want you to know that, these are available if you want to look further into them. So because I had my tax enabled in the general settings, that then enables a tax tab up the top here. And if I disabled it, it just simply wouldn't be here. But in New Zealand, it's common for us to sell products inclusive of a tax called GST, just like 15% added on to the price. And it's nice to, be upfront about that. That is going to be included in the price, but it may be better to exclude it. You can have control over that. And also calculate tax based on some options such as the shipping address, billing address, or the shop base address. Thankfully for me, these options are quite standard, but I know in the US, I think different states have different tax percentages sometimes, and I think in the UK, some products are required to have a zero tax rate as well. So you've got options there. And then we've also got options about how we display the tax. So whether the product prices show that it's including or excluding tax, and whether to show those prices during the checkout and cart pages, and then how we want that tax to be named. So in New Zealand, it's common to say including GST, and then how you want your totals displayed in the cart, whether it's as a single total or itemized. So yeah, more options here for you to tailor to your business and your country. And then we will move on to setting up one of those rates. So the country codes here are listed, and you'll be able to find your country code, I think, by clicking this link. Yeah, so if you click on the link here, it'll take you to a Wikipedia page where you can search for your country. So there's a big list here. I will scoot back to this page. So for me, it's NZ. We don't have specific state or zip code tax rates or individual cities. So it's just 15% for the entire country, and that name is GST. And you can also apply it to shipping or not. Reduced rates are here, which they don't apply to me, but it's the same thing. You just add a row into the details, and you can then apply that rate to specific products or not. And it's the same with zero rates. So you can insert your details into these rows here. And moving on to shipping and payments, we'll cover next week. I have got some things set up here, but I want to just give them a bit more time. So we'll move on to accounts and privacy. And these are all about the options for your customers. So would you like to enable guest checkout? Would you like them to be able to log in during the checkout, which I tend to enable all of these options because I want as little access to, I want a little barrier to checking out. So I think that a customer should be able to come and check out without creating an account because that's a barrier to them checking out. And if they log in and they've previously bought something, then their address details will be automatically filled out, which is, just a nice user experience. And then also some more options to allow them to create an account after they check out, during the checkout, and on the My Account page, etc. So lots of different options there, and you just enable them to suit you and your business and how passwords are handled. And you can see there's a few that are recommended. So yeah, it would probably be a good idea to stick with those. And account erasure requests. So customers can request that you remove their data through these requests. So you can allow them to submit those requests or not. And then you can write a bit about your registration privacy policy and the privacy policy on the checkout pages if those are important for you and your business and your country. You've got places here to write those. And then some data retention options here. So you might want to, retain inactive accounts for, say, 2 years. We've got months here, but we could say 2 years. You could, retain pending orders for, say, 7 days or 14 days. It's up to you. If you don't want to set any of those rules, I would just leave them empty. And you can always remove the settings that you've added later on if it doesn't work for you. So let's go to emails. Um, so there are many types of emails that WooCommerce will make available, and you will be sent some as the shop owner. So like when there's a new order, you'll be notified by email, and when there's a cancelled order, and then a failed order, and then all the rest are customer emails. So when they um, place an order, when you've completed an order, they'll get an email. They'll get an email. When you've refunded an order, they'll get an email about that, customer note, password reset, etc. And these can all be disabled as well. So if you think, I'm looking at my store admin all the time. I see when orders come in. I don't really need these email notifications. We can just get rid of them. So yeah, you've just got options there. Tailor it how you want things to work. And then down below those that list, we've got how we actually want the email to look, and where it comes from. So for me, it's Bargain Books, and you could change this. Perhaps it's sales@bargainbooks.com or whatever. Add your logo, the width of the logo, where it is aligned, the font, and also if you want to have a store address in the footer, you can allow that as well. And then how it all looks. So the background colors, the heading colors, and then you can preview each different type of email that you have. So what does a completed order look like? And you can see how they look on a phone and send yourself a test email, just to, really make sure that's going to come through looking good. So yeah, you've got quite a lot of customization options there, and that can all be extended through plugins as well. So we'll look at the integration tab. So earlier I mentioned that customer locations could be determined via geolocation, and this is where we would set that up. So you go to MaxMind and you can apply for their service, and then input the key that they give you on this page here. And then that will enable that feature for your store. I have got a payment gateway, WooCommerce Payments installed, and it added its own link here. So we can add the I'm not a robot capture to our checkout, and that will help cut down, on things like spam orders. And depending on the integration or the plugin that you install, it may or may not show up here. So some options will appear up the top here, depending on how the developer of that plugin has set it up. So this could change, depending on what you install. And site visibility is one of the least complicated. So you've got whether you're, oh, sorry, I've got a question here. Where do you get the shortcodes list options for the emails? Yeah, that's a good point. That will be in the documentation somewhere. I'll try and get back to you with an actual link after this workshop wraps up. But yeah, I believe there'll be a lot more documentation and resources to help you customize those emails further. But yeah, this is just a simple setting about whether you want your site to be public or not. If you have a coming soon mode enabled, you can apply that to store pages only so that the rest of your website is still visible. Or if you'd like another, perhaps a designer or a developer to preview the shop before you make it live, you can send them a special link and they'll get past the coming soon page. It's just kind of handy options there. Point of sale is just where your store is located again. And if you have a physical store, into these details here, or not if you don't. But I did see an interesting discussion today about people buying from New Zealand, they want to support the country's businesses, but then they later realize that the products are being like drop shipped from other countries and they felt a bit cheated. And I think adding your physical address to show that your shop is in the country that you say it's in can help with trust. And there are there's a bit of a movement here in New Zealand to help, local businesses and support local businesses and things. So it's probably not a bad idea. But again, it's up to you. And then we'll go to advanced settings, and some of them are advanced, some aren't so advanced, like the cart page. We're going to set what page uses the cart page, but I would just leave these as they are. The terms and conditions, you might have already prepared a page for the general website, and you might want to apply that page to be the terms and conditions page. We have pay endpoints, which is the URL that's used after an order is received or a payment has been added, a payment method has been added or deleted. I don't really think you'll need to change these if you're running a pretty standard shop. These might be more for a developer. And account endpoints are for the customer's My Account page. So they can see their orders, view their orders, view their downloads, edit their account, etc. And if you remove one of these options, like if we delete downloads, then that downloads link won't appear in their account area. So if you're not offering any downloadable products, you might actually want to remove that so they're not confused with this download link that doesn't really do anything. So yeah, REST API is more for integrations as well. For example, if you're using a company such as, I think, Starship, it will integrate via an API key, and it will allow like live shipping rates to be displayed on your checkout and interacted and added to by the user. So that's where this type of thing comes in. Same with webhooks. This is all sort of custom functionality. Legacy APIs, if a plugin is using an old version, you can enable that here. WooCommerce.com. So there's some tracking settings here and the suggestions within the software. If you don't want those, you can turn them off. So Blueprint is in beta. But that's going to be a helpful way to essentially set up a new shop and take a lot of the settings of an existing shop or website with you. But I think this is, tread lightly here. This may not be its final version yet. Don't think it is. So features, again, just some odds and ends here. Like if you want to enable WooCommerce Analytics, or perhaps you're using Google Analytics or something, and you can disable that. So I'd have a look through here. There's some pretty minor stuff like enabling the site visibility badge in the WordPress admin bar, which is this little badge up here. If that's helpful, leave it. If it's not helpful, you can disable it. So I would have a look through here. If there are quite niche things you want to adjust or change. And that brings us right to the end of our general settings. So again, if there's something that I've touched on and you want to learn more, I'll do my best to give you some resources. And there are a lot of resources in the WooCommerce documentation that dive deep into each individual setting to tell you more about it. So I'll quickly go back to our presentation and we'll begin talking about products now. So WooCommerce comes with these default product types when you install it. So you get simple products, which is selling just a simple single item like a book or a pen or something like that. Variable products like a t-shirt, which has perhaps, several different color options and sizing options. A grouped product, which can be handy if you're selling like a book bundle or, a cap and and a t-shirt go well together, you could group those products together. We sort of covered downloadable products. So if you're selling PDFs or music files or videos or something, you can manage those downloadable products from within the site, and external or affiliate products. So you can list a product on your website and then link it off to another website. And then you put a special code in the URL, and that website will recognize that you've sent that customer to their site, and you might be able to work out some sort of a deal with them. It's pretty common with social media influencers and things like that. So let's take a look at the different types of products that come with WooCommerce. I've set up one of each. So we'll have a look at the store, the front-facing store, and the back end of each product. Got a few people in the waiting room, which I'll just admit a few. Okay, cool, thank you. So I've set up 9 products, and I just want to show you each some characteristics of those products. So I've coded them with a single letter at the front. So S is our simple product, and this simple product also has a sale price, which is sort of reflected here. And you'll probably remember like my GST setting that I set in the settings area is applied here as well. We get a sale badge, and this will depend on your theme a bit about how this actually looks. So going into the product itself, we can see that our sale price is displayed. We have a short description. We have one in stock. We have an add to cart button, the SKU if you want to add that, and the categories if you want to add those as well. We have an image, a longer description, a review section, and related products, which are other products that are also in these categories. So most of the products are set up in this sort of standard format, but this is another simple product, and it doesn't have a sale price, but it does have reviews. So let's take a look at its single page, and you can see that the review is featured at the top with the other details that the other product had, but we can actually click on this to view the review. So I just left a review here so that you could see how it looks, and we can toggle the tabs to go back to our description or not. Related products again, and so they can have reviews or not, and if they do, you can also add those stars to this page. And these stars, depending on the theme, can also be displayed in Google search results, which I think adds like kind of trust for your product and shows that, you know, people have bought it, it's a good product, and it helps customers come to your site and purchase it, I believe. So we have a variable product, and we can see that we have a ranged price. So let's have a look at that. So in my shop, I decided that I would sell brand new books and used books. So we have a ranged price for either option, and the customer can come in and decide, you know what, I would like the new one. And then they'll see that it's $9.99 and that we have 10 in stock. And then we have a custom description for that variation. So purchase a new copy of this book. And then if they like the used version, it's got its price here and its custom description here as well. And obviously, you know, the image change. So you could see what you're getting. It's just a really nice, I think that's a really nice user experience. We have the other options that the other products had as well, but we have additional information, which is sort of just a overview of the variations that we've set up. But In my experience, a lot of people don't want this, and you can remove it via some custom code and I believe some plugins as well. So just keep that in mind. So we have a downloadable product, which is a PDF that I just created, and I'm selling it for $3.99. It's just an example for us to look at here today. And if we purchase this and went through all the checkout steps, we would see it available in our My Account area under our download section, which I went through that process prior to this workshop. And we can download it when we click that link. So it's always there for the customer to come back to if they've, lost their laptop or something, they need it again. They can always come back and get it again. And so we'll move on to an external or affiliate product. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where we may be some like a YouTuber or a social media influencer, and we have a certain product that we are promoting, and we could feature it on our website. But when they click the button to order it, it actually goes to another website. And we can see in the URL here that I've created a fake affiliate ID, which is affiliate ID equals 12345, and the source is the partner bargain books. So they'll be able to tell who has sent the customer to that product through this URL. And we might have some sort of deal where I get 5% of the sale or something like that. So just another option to be aware of. You can set that up quite easily within the back end of the site. And the final one that I wanted to show you is a grouped product. So I created the 3 individual products for the Lord of the Rings books. And I also created a bundle. So you could just order the books, 1, 2, or 3 if you want them. Maybe you just want 1 or 2, or if you want all 3, you could go into the bundled product. But it's quite cool that you get the option whether you still want 1, 2, or 3. So you can select them all here. Now this could go really well if you've got, I don't know, like curtains match certain drapes, like it could be unlimited really. A certain cup matches these coasters. You can really run wild with your group products here. Just another option. In this case, it makes sense. In your store, it might not, but you just have that option here. So those are, sorry, I'll just take a quick pause. We've got a few more in the waiting room here. So we've seen how products look on the front end, but I wanted to show how they look when we actually make one. So I've got a draft here of a variable product and a simple product. So we'll start with the simple product. We're going to sell a bookmark that is branded to match my site. So we can enter a description. So whatever you want really, like best bookmark in New Zealand, so whatever you want. Price. So we'll look at maybe it's $4 and I'm gonna put it on sale for 3. You can select your tax here and the rate that we've set up earlier. So a standard tax rate applies in this case. You can select whether it's a virtual and downloadable product, which in this case it isn't. And then if you do have a downloadable product and you tick that, you get extra options. So you'll be able to upload the actual file and set limits like download limits and an expiry date for that download. So yeah, that's where you handle downloadable product preferences. And inventory. So your SKU might be bargain books bookmark. And for the books that I actually created, I put ISBN numbers in there. And if you want to track the stock, you can do that from within this setting here. So I might have ordered 100 bookmarks, but I give a few away here and there, so we'll put 80. And whether or not you want to allow back orders, low stock threshold, I might put, say, 20, and that will give me plenty of time, hopefully, to order more and that type of thing. Or you could also, in some cases, you may need to limit the amount to one item, one item per customer order. If you've got like a really cool product and it's going just off the shelves, you might want to limit it to one per customer so that, one person doesn't just come and order them all and end up reselling them somewhere, something like that. Shipping. So we're going to touch on this next week. We're actually not going to touch on it. We're going to look at it in depth, but today we'll touch on it. Your book might weigh 1 kilo or half a kilo or something. So you can put those in if they're important to you, the length, width, and height. These are really important when you have shipping setups such as like volumetric shipping, where you can set up prices based on things like per gram and per centimeter, etc. So those are useful when you have complex shipping setups such as those. And linked products. So you can select the products that you want to feature, like down at the bottom where we had them displayed earlier. They were being automatically pulled in from the category, but you could put specific ones there if you want. And a cross sell is, say, when you have product A in the cart, you'll see product B, C, and D in the cart. Or if you have product X, you could put Y and Z in the show them when they're in the cart page. So just some options here, and again, don't have to use them if you don't want them. So we'll leave attributes for when we look at the variable product. They're a bit more relevant there. We can come down and set up a short description, which is the description that will show beneath the title. So I'll put bargain books, bookmark. Oops. And so really you just kind of work top down, have a look at the options on the left here. Sorry, I forgot to add that this is where you actually select which type of product you want to create. So simple, grouped, that external affiliate or variable. And then come over to the right side here and you can set the product image. So I've created this bookmark image, but you may have an image prepared on your computer and you can just sort of drag that in, upload it here. So you could select this option here to upload an image from your computer, and then it will be selected just like this one is. And then it's usually a good idea, to add alt text, and the title. You probably don't need to worry about caption and description unless you want to add those. They will then show when you click on the image on the single product page. So up to you. So if we go set product image, this will be our product image. You can also set a gallery of images that will enable the user to click and then scroll through different images for your product if you want to do that, and then set a product category. So in my case, this might be called merchandise. So you can add really as many as you want and select. The products can belong to many different categories if you wish, or just a single. Product tags are also something that you might look at setting up. So if we have a category of, say, clothing, we might have a product tag of, say, men's or women's or shorts or pants or, just making it more granular. And also you can add a brand if that's something that your products are heavily influenced by or belong to a specific brand you want to feature. If that's something that is important for your customers to be able to filter by, then I would recommend adding that. So we have options up here to publish it or save it if you're not ready to publish it. You can also look at the catalog visibility options. So if you want this to be on the shop page and in search results, just the shop page, just the search results, or hide it. So those are your options there. And then once we publish, once that's finished loading, your product is now live and added to your website, and it can be ordered by anyone that visits your site right now. So it's very instant. And yeah, looks all right. Obviously, we would flesh it out a bit more, probably get a better description. But the nuts and bolts are all there. So now we'll look at a variable product, which is a very similar process, just with one or two extra steps. So I've got our title, our product description. So we're going to say Bargain Books t-shirt. And I want to select that it's a variable product. So our tax options are still here, our inventory. And what I'll do is actually leave that because I want to set that up for the individual variations that we're going to sell. Shipping, yeah, we'll sort of cover that a little bit, but I'll leave that blank for now. Link products again. But now is where we get into the configuration. So what I want to write here is color and whether or not these variations will be visible on the product page and also used for variations. So color, we'll type red, separated by that pipe symbol, which is above the enter or below the delete key with a shift hold. Red, blue, and green. So we'll save those attributes. And I want to add another one, which is size. So we're going to say small, medium, large. And now once we set things up a little bit further, our customers will be able to select the t-shirt on their preferred color and size. So variations, we can either add them manually or we can generate all the different variations that this product could have. So we'll go ahead and click this and see what we get. So we have a few options here, like red, small, red, medium, red, large, blue, small, etc. So I think I will remove these because I would rather set them up myself. I would prefer that we separate them out into color and size only, not have all these combinations. So just bear with me. Okay, so I'm going to add manually any color, any size. So we can upload an image. We'd have to sort of use our imagination a bit here, like for the red, it might have a red book, the blue might have a red book, etc. And it's set up an individual SKU. So a lot of the options that we saw on the simple product screen are actually within the variations here. And yeah, the downloadable options, the managed stock options. So we'll put $20 on the t-shirt and we could do a sale price of 15, stock quantity again. We could set to say 10 and yeah, go through all the options for your size. So we'll go red and then we'll go any size. And then we'll save that, add another one. say blue. And yeah, so it's a little bit more work. We have to set up each individual product. Um, so I'll just add this image, manage stock, we'll go 10, and we'll go, well, what was it, 20 and 15. So yeah, you just add as many variations as you need for your product and enter in the product description, brands tag. So it's all similar in that way to the simple product. And then once we publish, we can see that it actually has some different um, attributes here to select. So although I didn't set everything up, if we selected blue and I changed that image to a blue book, that would then show just like that variable product, the book that we saw earlier. So I really just wanted to show how these variable products are set up because they're probably the most complicated product type, and give you a good sort of overview of just the process, really just going top, bottom, entering in all the details that apply, and then over on the right here, you've got some extra settings as well. So, this is an area that might take a bit of practice. Again, you can always save it as a draft before you publish and then preview it to make sure everything's okay before you publish it. And also, you could consult the documentation about adding these different types of products, and it will give you more in-depth information about each. And there's a lot of YouTube videos as well dedicated to these topics. So yeah, please feel free to explore and learn more about creating products. So with that, that sort of brings us near the end of part one. But I understand people may have questions, and there's a few actually in the chat. So I'll read through them and do my best to answer. And if you've got any more, please feel free to add them in the chat or come off mute and just say them to me. And we'll go through these. So Leslie's asked, how does it know the quantity for each size and color if you set it up as one quantity for all the sizes? Yeah, so I think we would need to add each quantity to that specific variation. That's probably the way to go. I think I just skipped over that, sorry. So you would want, if the blue shirt and the small size had 10, I would add the quantity to that variation. So we could do that. Say you could select that actual individual variation here. So we could assign that the blue small variation has 10. That probably is the way to go. Yeah. I think the like not assigning a size could work for some products, but probably not t-shirts. Um, yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, feel free to ask any more if you've got any. What I'll do after the workshop is also put a link on the meetup.com website to the slides that I've used, and in the notes you'll see a lot of links to documentation that will help you learn more about each of the areas that we've covered today. And we've got another question from Leslie. Can you set up a live event that a customer attends and then get a download of the replay at the same product link? Can you set up a live event that a customer attends and then gets a download of the replay at the same product link? I don't believe so. I think once you've created a product, that link will always be used as a product link. Live attends on Zoom. You might be able to actually create a redirect for the Zoom link, but I'm not sure. I'll try and get back to you about that as well. That's something that I haven't looked into, unfortunately. And Chris has asked if yeah, we are sort of near the end of the workshop, Chris, sorry. But I'll be uploading it to WordPress.tv over the next couple of days, so you'll be able to catch a replay there. And next week we'll be covering like part two at the same place. Yeah, at the same time. And yeah, part two on meetup.com will have a separate Zoom link, but yeah, no problems. You can also connect with me on the WordPress Slack at CLK87 if you have any questions in the meantime. So yeah, so next week I've already mentioned it, but will be same time, same place at the to go into part two, and we'll cover payments, shipping, the WooCommerce pages, coupons, and how to manage orders. So yeah, hopefully by the end of that, we'll all have a very good understanding of how to run our shop. So yeah, thank you all for joining, and I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you again next week. So yeah, take care, and yeah, I've got some nice thank you messages coming in. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yeah, look forward to seeing you next week. Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.